So this is the policy update for input broadcasting. Blizzard is updating their policies to be able to take actionable offense. Let me just make sure this is on the screen. Yeah, it is. Okay, good. Take actionable offense against input broadcasting software, which allows a single keystroke to be automatically mirrored to multiple game clients. The software will no longer be allowed while playing a World of Warcraft, and is commonly used in multiboxing. Throughout BFA, you've probably seen the multi-box characters collecting herbs and Nazjatar or dominating in world PvP. From this statement, having multiple accounts is still legal. It's just that the accounts cannot be using software to mirror input broadcasting software to multiple game clients. You can still have multiple accounts or play multiple characters at once, with some characters on follow, with you alt-tabbing between the accounts. That is a massive nerf. Like, this effectively kills a lot of multi-boxing. So, like, for example, let's talk about some good things and some ways that multi-boxers do things and how this will prevent that from happening. So a multi-boxer that reses up and then he casts Arcane Explosion. I'm talking about classic WoW. He reses up and he casts Arcane Explosion and he blows up the whole raid. That is now against the TOS, because the way that he was able to cast Arcane Explosion on all of those characters is through input broadcasting software. So that's nerfed. He can't do that anymore. Like, that's against the rule. Like, it's just straight up against the rules. You can't do that. The big boy multiboxers can just use multiplexers as a hardware solution. Don't you think the Blizzard's gonna ban him for that too? So here's an example. So, have you guys ever had the bird? Have you guys ever seen like one of those birds that like dips down and like drinks water? It's like this. You guys have seen this bird, right? Yeah, the drinking birds. Okay. So, I had this brilliant idea whenever I was 16 years old that I would buy one of these birds and I would put it on my keyboard and I would make it dip and drink, and that would hit the spacebar to keep me out of AFKing and BGs. This is what I planned on doing. And I had this idea. Blizzard would have banned me for that. Even though I was not technically botting, I was doing something that is effectively botting. They would have banned me. Here's the difference. If you're going to do something and just try to get around it by like trying to get around Blizzard's TOS, they're just going to make that against the TOS too. This is not like some sort of like legal thing. Blizzard can just ban people if they're being a disruption anyway. It's literally botting, by the way. Exactly, it is. Key difference in wording, Blizzard is specifically saying software. What you don't understand though is that Blizzard is saying software, but that doesn't mean that they're limited to software, because their statements are not legally binding. So even if you had a hardware that manually key pressed every single thing on like 8 different keyboards, they're still going to ban people for that. It's not like they're not going to ban people for that. How will it be detected? What do you mean, how will it be detected? Blizzard, they're going to get reported by like 1 million people, because 1 million people are going to be salty about multi-boxers. And they have been for years. Blizzard's going to look into it and see some guy flying around with 10 characters doing the exact same thing on every character. They're going to say, oh, looks like this guy's using software, and they fucking ban him. That's what's going to happen. So this is the statement that Blizzard made. As World of Warcraft has evolved, our policies have also evolved to support the health of the game and needs of the players. We've examined the use of third-party input broadcasting software, which allows a single keystroke or action to be automatically mirrored to multiple game clients, and we've seen an increasingly negative impact to the game as this software is used to support botting and automated gameplay. The use of input broadcasting software that mirrors keystrokes to multiple WoW game clients will soon be considered an actionable offense. We believe this policy is in the best interests of the game and the community. We will soon be issuing warnings to all players who are detected using input broadcasting software to mirror commands and multiple accounts at the same time. With these warnings, we intend to notify players that they should not use this software while playing World of Warcraft. Soon thereafter, the warnings will escalate to account actions, which can include suspension and, if necessary, permanent closure of that player's World of Warcraft accounts. We strongly advise you to cease using this type of software immediately to maintain uninterrupted access to World of Warcraft. Thank you for understanding. Well, thank you, Blizzard. Thank you, Blizzard. This is the biggest dub that we've had all week. I'm very happy about this. I'm very glad about this. I think multiboxing is degenerate gameplay. I think it's pay to win. And I don't think it should be in the game. I'm glad that Blizzard is getting rid of this. And I hope they continue doing things like this in order to further preserve the integrity of the game. This is a massive fucking win for anybody who wants to farm resources, anybody who wants to do raw gold farming, anybody who wants to raid in Classic WoW without having one dipshit with 8 mages trying to res at the fucking spawn location of the raid and then AoE them all down while the mages kill themselves with goblin snapper charges. This is a massive fucking win. Common problems is multibox. In order to clarify their stance on multiboxing, which players were confused after their policy update. Okay, this is the main thing. Common problems is multiboxing allowed. I want to report a player for multiboxing. Multiboxing or playing multiple World of Warcrafts accounts at once is not a violation of our terms of use. Please note, however, that the use of input broadcasting software may result in account penalties. Basically, what they're saying is this: multiboxing is not bannable, but if you try to effectively multibox, you're going to get banned. Because I don't know how you can do something that doesn't have input broadcasting software onto multiple accounts without doing that and actually being effective with it. Alt-tab/follow. So what are they going to do whenever, like, just have 8 keyboards? Yeah. So you're going to alt-tab between each character? I'm sorry, but I think that is such a massive fucking nerf. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Like, that is such a massive fucking nerf. That's like taking their effectiveness from like fucking 100% down to like 5. In your words, define multiboxing and how it affects the game as an average player. Sure. So if you want to go Urbing right now in Nazjatar, you can't do it because the people that are doing it with 8 characters at a time have such a massive competitive advantage that you're not going to be able to make any money doing it because of how much more resources they can inject into the economy versus you. So basically what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up being able to like, you effectively remove certain gold farms and certain types of farming out of the game because of how much more efficient multiboxing is versus doing it legitimately. So also you're talking about raw gold. So if you're adding, let's say, 3,000 gold per run into the economy per character, and then you're doing it with 10 characters, you're adding 30,000 gold into the economy every single run. What resources are those 30,000 golds, is that 30,000 gold going after? What resources are those tied to? Nothing. That means that it creates inflation because there's nothing for it to go after. There's no product, there's no resource for it to be attributed to. So what ends up happening is you have the inflation of the economy that goes up and up and up and up and up, and people who take a break in the game, it's like, imagine taking a break at the beginning of WoD. You had 500,000 gold, you were balling. You come back at the end of WoD, people bid 500,000 gold whenever they're bored in a raid. So inflation hurts the average player because it makes it to where their price, the purchasing power of their gold goes down too quickly in order for them to be able to really enjoy and take breaks. And it creates a barrier to entry for them coming back to the game because they are progressively, or I don't know really what the word you want to look at, comparatively less wealthy than they were whenever they left. What causes such big inflation in WoW? Here's how you cause inflation. It's very simple. Add currency into an economy without adding resources for that currency to chase after. So if you have 10 items and you have 100 gold, that means each item is worth 10 gold, right? If you have 1,000 gold and you still have 10 items, well, now each one of those items is worth 100 gold. So the purchasing power of your money went down, even though you're buying the same thing. That's why you have like these fucking boomers that are like, oh, you know, back in my day, I just go up to McDonald's and I get a cheeseburger for $1. Now it's $30. You can't afford that. How many times you ever heard somebody fucking say that? I don't know. I hear that all the time. About how cheap things used to be. That's what happens. Why is it now, though, after 16 years? There's 2 reasons why it's now, though, after 16 years. And I'll explain the first reason. The first reason is because multiboxing in Classic WoW is infinitely more prevalent than it was in Vanilla WoW. In Vanilla WoW, people didn't have the resources, the technology, or the computing power to multibox. There were maybe a few people that did it, but it's not anything like the way that it is now. So multiboxing in Classic WoW is a completely different paradigm, has a completely different effect, and is completely different than multiboxing in Vanilla. So multiboxing in Classic is harmful to the game, wherein multiboxing in Vanilla was not, because it was just so minimal. So that's why they're getting rid of it for Classic WoW. Now for Retail WoW, here's why they're getting rid of it. They're getting rid of it because of the way that they have the tag rules on resources. So right now, the tag rules on resources are that if one person loots a copper vein, you know, like a copper mine, they mine copper, somebody else can come up to that same copper mine and mine that right after the first guy, and they can both get copper. Well, what happens whenever you have 8 accounts that are all mining the same copper vein? Well, I'll tell you what happens. You have 8 times as much copper as you originally did in the economy. That's a lot of copper. So what happens to the people that are trying to legitimately farm copper? They are at an 8x disadvantage. So if the person that's selling the copper for 8 times, getting 8 times as much copper is making 8 times as much money, they're also driving down the prices of the copper because they're injecting so much into the economy that it's probably flooding the market, which means that the price of the copper is going down. And then on top of that, they're having so much of the copper that the other people can't even sell theirs. It just completely floods the market of resources. So that's why. Multiboxers are mad thinking, can you believe it? Multiboxers are mad thinking banning multiboxing is wrong? Of course they think, of course they're mad. Like, we're taking away their fun. Of course they're fucking mad. What do you expect? What do you think they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm so glad that the thing that I like to do is being taken away from me. Of course they're pissed off. Fuck them. Fuck them, dude. I played the character. 40 account multiboxer from Classic. Yeah, prepared WoW. That crusty ass old man that made characters on Faralina specifically to kill me. Well, guess what? We just killed his whole fucking career. He's done. He can't play the game anymore this way.